I'm not a perfect person, but I try to be the kind of woman my children can look up to. She was the untouchable goddess of Hollywood, a woman whose face graced every magazine cover, whose lips, tattoos, and eyes became icons of a generation. From girl interrupted to Maleficent, Angelina Jolie wasn't just an actress. She was an entire era. But behind the red carpet smiles and diamond gowns was a heart that had bled too many times. A daughter haunted by her father's betrayal. A lover painted as both sinner and saint. A mother fighting to protect her children from the world and from herself. The tabloids called her wild, dangerous, unfit. The UN called her brave, compassionate, irreplaceable. Two versions of one woman colliding in the spotlight for decades. At 50, the tragedy and triumph of Angelina Jolie are no longer just stories in magazines. They are a mirror of everything that makes us human. Because sometimes, the brightest angels are born from the darkest storms. Los Angeles, 1975. The city of dreams where stardust and heartbreak share the same skyline. Angelina Jolie Voight was born into that world, the daughter of Hollywood royalty, actor Jon Voight and actress Marjolaine Bertrand. From the outside, it looked like destiny had already chosen her. But inside that glittering home, love was fractured. Her father's infidelity tore the family apart before she could even walk. Marjolaine raised Angelina and her brother James alone, teaching them to find beauty and kindness, not fame. The little girl who would one day command the world's attention spent most of her childhood feeling invisible. She grew up quiet, intense, and restless, a child who collected knives instead of dolls, who found comfort in shadows rather than light. At school, she was the misfit, too pale, too thin, too different. By 13, she was battling depression. By 16, she had already lived 100 emotional lives. Still, something in her eyes refused to break. There was a hunger, not for applause, but for meaning. When she watched her mother cry at old movies, Angelina whispered, "One day, I'll make people feel what you feel." That promise, made in a dimly lit apartment in Los Angeles, would become the seed of a career that would shake the world, and the beginning of a journey where every wound became a weapon, and every scar told a story. You have to be willing to burn, to be reborn. Hollywood didn't know what hit it when Angelina Jolie arrived. In Gia, 1998, she didn't just play a character, she became her. The fragile, reckless supermodel consumed by fame. The performance was raw, almost dangerous. It earned her a Golden Globe, an Emmy nomination, and a reputation for fearlessness. Then came Girl, Interrupted. At 24, she tore through the screen as Lisa Rowe, a tornado of charisma and chaos that won her the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress. It wasn't just talent, it was something deeper, darker, a woman who understood pain too well. By the early 2000s, she was everywhere. The world called her the wild child of Hollywood. She wore blood vials, kissed her brother on the red carpet, and married Billy Bob Thornton in a frenzy of tabloid headlines. But when she strapped on twin pistols as Lara Croft in Tomb Raider, Angelina became more than a name. She became a global phenomenon. The film grossed over $270 million, and her face was suddenly etched into pop culture. Yet fame never satisfied her. Between shoots, she traveled to Cambodia, a trip that would change her life. Among landmines and orphaned children, the actress who once chased danger found something else: compassion. It was the first glimpse of the woman she would become, part warrior, part mother, part saint. By 2005, after Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Angelina Jolie was the highest paid actress in the world and one half of the most talked about couple on earth. But as the world watched her glow beside Brad Pitt, the cracks beneath the surface began to widen. Because fame can make you invincible until it starts taking pieces of you away. At the height of her fame, she seemed untouchable, the perfect blend of beauty, rebellion, and power. But perfection is a fragile illusion. Behind the walls of her mansion, Angelina's world began to fracture. Her relationship with her father, Jon Voight, had already been reduced to silence. The man who gave her his last name had also given her his deepest wound, abandonment. And though she had built a family of her own, the shadows of her past followed her into every room. Motherhood grounded her, but love was never simple. Her romance with Brad Pitt began as a whirlwind that shook the foundations of Hollywood. To the public, they were Brangelina, the golden couple. To her, it was fragile happiness, constantly chased by headlines and judgment. When the cameras stopped flashing, arguments began. Whispers turned into accusations, and one day in 2016, the dream imploded on an airplane, a moment that would echo through courtrooms and tabloids for years. The woman who once commanded the world's attention now faced it as an enemy. Custody battles, allegations, endless speculation about who she really was, the saint who saved children or the sinner who destroyed a family. Her smile faded. Her frame grew thinner. But the pain was never about fame. It was about trust and how it feels to lose it. Then came another blow, this time to her body. In 2013, genetic tests revealed that she carried the BRCA1 gene, giving her a high risk of breast and ovarian cancer. She made the unthinkable choice, a double mastectomy, preventive but deeply symbolic. She wrote, "I do not feel less of a woman. I feel empowered that I made a strong choice that, in no way, diminishes my femininity." The world watched in silence. For the first time, Angelina Jolie wasn't playing a role. She was fighting for her life, her children, and her identity. In the quiet that followed, she began to fade from the screen. No longer the seductive rebel, no longer the Hollywood queen, just a woman learning how to breathe again. Different is good. When someone tells you that you are different, smile and hold your head up high. In the stillness after chaos, Angelina Jolie rebuilt her world quietly. She stopped chasing headlines and started chasing meaning. The woman who once lived for the camera began to live for her children. 6 souls from 6 corners of the world who called her Mom. Each of them carried a piece of her healing. Maddox, who gave her courage in Cambodia. Zahara, whose laughter filled the house with light. Shiloh, who reminded her that love has no rules. Pax, Vivian, Knox, each name a prayer whispered in the dark. She began to write, to direct, to speak for those who had no voice. As a UNHCR special envoy, she traveled through refugee camps in Iraq, Lebanon, and Myanmar, not as a celebrity, but as a mother who had seen pain and refused to look away. Her hands, once adorned with diamonds, now held the hands of women who had lost everything. Slowly, the world started seeing her differently, not as the tabloid rebel, but as a warrior for compassion. The sinner had become a saint, not because she was flawless, but because she learned to turn her flaws into empathy. She spoke often about forgiveness, not of others, but of herself. "I realized love was never lost," she said softly once. "It just changed its form." And in that transformation, from actress to advocate, from scandal to strength, she found something fame could never offer: peace. For Angelina, redemption wasn't a comeback. It was coming home. Nothing would mean anything if I didn't live a life of use to others. Today, Angelina Jolie stands as one of the most complex figures Hollywood has ever known. An actress who conquered the world, a mother who built her own, and a woman who turned pain into purpose. Her legacy isn't just written in film awards or box office numbers. It lives in the thousands of children who found hope because she refused to stay silent. Through over 60 humanitarian missions, from Syria to South Sudan, she became a voice for the forgotten. Her presence commands not attention, but respect, the kind born from endurance. In cinema, her characters mirrored her life: the warrior who bleeds, the mother who protects, the outcast who dares to love. But perhaps her greatest performance has been her honesty, showing the world that beauty and brokenness can exist in the same heart. As time softens her image, what remains is not the scandal, nor the headlines, but the courage of a woman who dared to evolve in public under the weight of judgment and still chose grace. Today, Angelina Jolie is not just a movie star. She is a reminder that the human spirit, no matter how bruised, can still rise, rebuild, and reach out. Because even the brightest angels fall, but the true ones learn how to fly again. If you've ever admired Angelina Jolie, not for her beauty but for her courage, tell us which moment of her story touched you most. Was it the rebellious girl who dared to be different, the mother who fought for her children, or the woman who found peace in helping others? Because behind every headline is a heartbeat, and behind every fame, there's a fragile heart learning how to love again. Share your thoughts below. And remember, even the strongest souls have scars, and that's what makes them beautiful.